Hello, welcome to Study Circle. Today we are going to read class 12th History Part 1 Chapter 1 Brick, Beads and Bones Summary. This is the summary of this chapter. This video is intended for those students who want to revise the chapter. This is only the summary who are preparing for any competitive exam. Okay, let's start. The time period of this Harappan culture, early Harappan culture, is 2600 BCE. The mature Harappan culture is 2600 BCE to 1900 BCE. The late Harappan culture time period is 1900 BCE. The extent of Harappan civilization is in northern boundary it is Manda, in southern boundary it is Daimabad, in eastern boundary it is Alamgirpur, and on western boundary it is Sutkagendur. The timeline or the major periods of early Indian archaeology is 2 million BP, that is before present, lower Paleolithic, 80,000 BP, that is middle Paleolithic, 35,000 BP, that is upper Paleolithic, 12,000 years BP, that is Mesolithic, and 10,000 BP, that is Neolithic, 6,000 BP, that is Chalcolithic. 2600 BP or BCE, that is Harappan civilization. 1000 BP or BCE is early iron or megalithic burials, and 600 BC to 400 CE, that is early historic period. Harappan civilization is also known as Indus Valley civilization. It is the oldest civilization of India. There is no consensus about the chronology of the Harappan civilization. Various scholars have given different dates about this period. According to John Marshall, the civilization flourished between 3250, that is 3250 and 2750 BCE. It was Dayaram Sahani who first discovered the sites of Harappan in 1921. The main centers of these civilizations are in Pakistan. Some famous sites of this civilization now in Pakistan are Mohenjo-daro and Chanhu-daro. The main center where this civilization flourished in India are Kalibangan, Chanhu-daro, Lothal, Dholabira, Surkodra, Amri and Banawali. The urban planning of this civilization are very magnificent. The houses were built in systematic manner, roads were wide and cut each other at right angle. The people of Indus Valley civilization had also made best planning for the drainage of rainwater and dirty water. The caste system was not present in the society. All the people lived together with mutual love and understanding. The women held a high position or rank in the society. They were fond of fashion. The economic life of the people were very prosperous. The main occupation of the people were the agriculture and domestication of animals. Trade was well developed. Both maternal and external trade was carried out. The people worshipped many gods and goddesses. They worshipped mother goddesses, Lord Shiva, animals, birds, trees, and sun. Here you can remember a trick, that is BERT, BERTD2, that is buffalo, elephant, rhino, tiger, and 2 deers were found near the god, that is Pasupati god. The people worshipped many gods and goddesses. They worshipped mother goddesses, Lord Shiva, animals, birds, trees, and suns. They knew arts and crafts. They knew the art of making beautiful sculptures, toys, pottery, ornaments, etc. They were skilled in production of seals. The language used by them on the seal is to be deciphered. Is still to be deciphered, not deciphered. If one is able to decipher their script inscribed on the seals, it will throw a flood of light on the various aspects of Harappan civilization. The main sources of our information of Harappa civilization is archaeological materials. The excavation carried out at Indus sites tries to construct the history of this civilization. During the excavation of Indus sites, many tools, pottery, seals, household objects, etc. have excavated. All these excavated materials are deeply examined by the archaeologists. Many historians like Cunningham, R.E.M. Wheeler, John Marshall, and G.F. Dells have played a valuable role in reconstructing the history of the ancient past, including the Indus Valley civilization sites. Many Indian archaeologists like Dayaram Sahani, S.R. Rao, R.S. Beast, B.K. Thapar have played a great role in the excavation of Indus sites. Indus Valley civilization is also known as Bronze Age civilization because people used bronze extensively for making their pottery, figure lines, and ornaments. Almost 1900 BCE, these were explicit signs about the decline of this civilization. By this time, the two most important cities of the Indus Valley, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, had been completely declined. Around 1200 BC, this civilization had completely vanished. Epidemic, Aryan invasion, change in the course of the river Indus, excessive floods, earthquake, etc. may be the main reason for the decline of this civilization. Subsistence strategies. The Harappans ate wide range of plants and animals products. Animal bones found at Harappan sites include those of cattle, sheep, goat, buffalo, and pig. The bones of wild species found suggest that Harappan hunted these animals themselves or obtained meat from other hunting communities. Bones of fish and fowl are also found. Agriculture technologies. Representation on the seals and terracotta sculpture indicate that the bull was known as archaeologists extrapolate from this at oxen were used for plowing. Terracotta models of the plough have found at sites in Cholistan at Banauli. Evidence of plowed field at Kalibangan has also been found. It is very important to note that evidence of plowed field at Kalibangan has also been found. Traces of irrigation canals have been found at Sortugha in Afghanistan, and traces of rainwater harvesting found in Dholabira in Gujarat through water reservoirs. Mohenjo-daro, a planned urban city with two sections of settlement, that is the citadel and the lower town. The citadel, these were constructed on mud brick platform and were walled, which means that it is physically separated from the lower town. These include the warehouse, a massive structure of which the lower brick portions remain. The upper portion, probably of wood, was the Great Bath. It was a large rectangular tank in courtyard surrounded by a corridor on all four sides. The lower town. It had carefully planned drainage system. The road and streets were laid out along an approximate grid pattern. It provides example of residential buildings. Many were centered on a courtyard with rooms on all sides. Every house had its own bathroom paved with brick, with drains connected through the wall to street drains. The uniqueness of the structure as well as context in which it was found, the citadel with several distinctive buildings has led scholars to suggest that it was meant for some kind of a special ritual bath. Now the social differences. Burials. At burials in Harappan site, the dead were generally laid in pits. Sometimes there were differences in the way the burial pit was made. Some graves contained pottery and ornaments, perhaps indicating a belief that these could be used in the afterlife. Jewelry has been found in burials of both men and women. Looking for luxuries. The artifacts are classified as utilitarian and luxuries by the archaeologist. Utilitarian objects are of daily use made fairly easily out of ordinary material such as stone or clay. Luxuries are those items if they are rare or made of costly or non-local material or with complicated technologies. The situation becomes more complicated when we find what seem to be articles of daily use such as spindle holes made of rare materials such as faience. Craft production. Chanudaru is a tiny settlement exclusively devoted to craft production, including bead making, shell cutting, metal working, shield making, and weight making. The variety of materials used to make beads is remarkable. The techniques for making bead differed according to the material. Nodules were chipped into rough shapes and then finally flaked into the final form. Specialized drills have been found at Chanudaru, Lothal, and more recently at Dholabira. Nageswar and Balakot were a specialized center for making shell objects, including bangles, ladles, and inlay. Centers of production. Archaeologists identified centers of production by looking the raw material and tools used. Waste is one of the best indicator of craftwork. Sometimes larger waste pieces were used up to make smaller objects. These traces suggest that apart from small specialized centers, craft production was also undertaken in large cities such as Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Strategies for procuring material. Procured from the subcontinent and beyond. The Harappans procured material for craft production in various ways. Terracotta toy models of bullock carts suggest that this was one of the important means of transporting goods and people across land routes. Another strategy for procuring raw materials may have been to send expeditions which established communication with local communities. Contact with distant land. Archaeological finds suggest that copper was also probably brought from Oman on the southeastern tip of the Arabian Peninsula. Mesopotamian texts datable to the 3rd millennium BC refer to copper coming from a region called Magan, perhaps a name for Oman. Oman. Other archaeological finds include Harappan seals, weight, dice, and beads which suggest contacts with regions named Dilmun, probably the island of Bahrain, Magan, and Meluha, possibly the Harappan region. It is likely that communication with Oman, Bahrain, and Mesopotamia was by sea. Mesopotamian text refers to Meluha as a land of seafarers. Beside, we find depiction of ships and boats on seals. Seals, scripts, and weight. Seals and sealings were used to facilitate long distance communication. The sealings also conveyed the identity of the sender. An enigmatic script. Harappan seals usually have a line of writing, probably containing the name and title of the owner. Scholars have suggested that the motif, generally an animal, conveyed a meaning to those who could not read. Most inscriptions are short, the longest containing about 26 signs. Although the script remains undeciphered to date, it was evidently not alphabetical as it has just too many signs. Some had between 375 and 400. The script was written from right to left. Weights. Exchanges were regulated by precise system of weights, usually made of stones called chert and generally cubical with no markings. Metal scale pans have also been found. Ancient authority. There are indications of complex decisions being taken and implemented in Harappan society. Palaces and kings. A large building found at Mohenjo-daro was labeled as palace by archaeologists, but no spectacular finds were associated with it. A stone statue was labeled and continues to be known as priest king. Some archaeologists are of the opinion that Harappan society had no rulers, whether other archaeologists feels that there was no single ruler but several rulers. Mohenjo-daro had separate ruler, Harappa another, while some believe that there was a single state. End of civilization. There is evidence that by 1800 BC, most of the mature Harappan sites in regions such as Cholistan had been abandoned. Simultaneously, there was an expansion of population into new settlements in Gujarat, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh. Several explanations for the decline of Harappan civilization are climatic changes, deforestation, excessive floods, the shifting or drying up of rivers. The end was evidenced by the disappearance of seals, the script, distinctive beads, and pottery. The shift from a standardized weight system to the use of local weights and the decline and abandonment of cities. Discovering the Harappan civilization. When Harappan cities fell into ruin, people gradually forgot all about them. The Cunningham's confusion. The first Director General of the ASI, Cunningham, used the account left by Chinese Buddhist pilgrims who had visited the subcontinent between the 4th and 7th centuries to locate early settlement. A site like Harappa, which was not part of itinerary of the Chinese pilgrim and was not known as early historic city. A Harappan seal was given to Cunningham by an Englishman. He noted the object but unsuccessfully tried to place it with a time frame with which he was familiar. It is not surprising that he missed the significance of Harappan civilization. A new old civilization. In 1924, John Marshall, Director General of ASI, announced the discovery of new civilization in the Indus Valley to the world. It was then that the world knew not only of the new civilization but also of one contemporaneous with Mesopotamia. Marshall tended to excavate long, regular, horizontal units uniformly throughout the mound, ignoring the stratigraphy of the site. This meant that all the artifacts recovered from the same unit were grouped together. New techniques and questions. Since 1980s, there has also been growing international interest in Harappan archaeology. Specialists from the subcontinent and abroad have been jointly working at both Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. They are using modern scientific techniques, including surface exploration, to recover traces of clay, stone, metal, and plant, animal remains, as well as minutely analyze every scrap of available evidence. These explorations promise to yield interesting results in the future. Major developments in Harappan archaeology. In 19th century, that is 1875, the report of Alexander Cunningham on Harappan Sea Lodge published. In 20th century, in 1921, MS Burst begins excavation at Harappa. In 1925, excavation began at Mohenjo-daro. In 1946, R.E.M. Wheeler, that is Mortimer Wheeler, excavates at Harappa. In 1955, S.R. Rao begins excavation at Lothal. In 1960, B.B. Lal and B.K. Thapar begin excavation at Kalibangan. In 1974, M.R. Mughal begins exploration in Bahawalpur. In 1980, a team of German and Italian archaeologists begins surface exploration at Mohenjo-daro. In 1986, American team begins excavation at Harappa. In 1990, R.S. Beast begins excavation at Dholabira. Problems of piecing together the past. It is not the Harappan scripts that helps in understanding the ancient civilization. Rather, it is material evidence that allows archaeologists to better reconstruct the Harappan life. The material could be pottery, tools, ornaments, household objects, etc. Organic materials such as cloth, leather, wood, reeds generally decompose, especially in tropical regions. What survive are stones, burnt clay or terracotta, metal, etc. Classifying finds. One simple principle of classification is in terms of materials such as One simple principle of classification in terms of materials such as stone, clay, metal, bone, ivory, etc. The second is in terms of function. Archaeologists have to decide whether, for instance, an artifact is a tool or an ornament, or both, or something meant for ritual use. Sometimes archaeologists have to take recourse to indirect evidence. For instance, though there are traces of cotton at some Harappan sites. To find out about clothing, we have to depend on indirect evidence, including depiction in sculpture. Problems of interpretation. Early archaeologists thought that certain objects which seemed unusual or unfamiliar may have had a religious significance. Attempts have also been made to reconstruct religious belief and practices by examining seals, some of which seem to depict ritual scenes. Others with plant motif are thought to indicate nature worship. Several reconstructions remain speculative at present. So this is the summary of this whole long chapter. This video is only for revision purpose. If you like this video, like the video, share and subscribe. Thank you.